Hello, 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 and thank you so much for pressing play on the latest edition of the Michigan Soccer Central podcast, your weekly dip into the world's game being played right here in the Great Lakes state of Michigan. How you doing? My name's Robert Kerr, your host of the program once again this week. Recording on Wednesday, April 26th, 2023, the day after Detroit City FC's third round exit from the U.S. Open Cup at the hands of MLS side Minnesota United. It was a good start for the hometown team here in Detroit. I said to some friends beforehand, I thought they'd score a goal and break their scoring duck, but may not get the victory at the end of it. And unfortunately, that prediction became true because it started great. Yazid Matthews and Abu Mensa combined to get through the middle of Minnesota's defense, and a long distance strike, a rare long distance strike, saw the back of the net for Yazid Matthews to get a early 1-0 lead in the cup competition. It was really a lot of the game after that was a lot of missed chances from both sides. Could have had a lot more goals than this, but it turned out to be 7 minutes of mayhem that saw Minnesota United run away with the game in the second half. 3-1 final to the visitors from the land of 10,000 lakes. Devin Amumensa, good. Yazid Matthews, especially in the first half, was bright. I saw him do some good things, but a little bit concerned about the middle with Maxi Rodriguez definitely not playing at the level, or at least putting in the performances that we saw this time last year. He was immense against the Columbus Crew in the Open Cup this time last year. Not quite the same performance against Minnesota. Please check out the Michigan Soccer Central YouTube channel. We've got full post-match reaction from head coach Trevor James at MI Soccer Central on YouTube. Do the old like and subscribe deal and get all of your Michigan Soccer Central videos. We're going to do our best to put all of our videos or more video content on the YouTube channel. We've got over 8,500 on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, but just a small handful there on YouTube. So be sure to check out Trevor James at the tail end of Tuesday night's defeat to Minnesota United. He's mostly upbeat, wanted to take some positives from scoring a goal and making some other chances. And to be fair, they did look a little bit more free flowing. Kind of looked like the front three looked fluid to a degree that they haven't so far in 2023. So hopefully positive signs for Le Rouge. Be sure to check out at MI Soccer Central across all the social media platforms for updates from the girls' high school, the club world that's going on, as well as many other things. Check out the feed. We talked amateur soccer with the Adult State Cup draw. Check out our interview with Craig Beebe from last week. And we also blurred the line of the southern border of the state and talked Toledo Villa. Talked with the head coach last week. So that is a good episode. And we have over 100 episodes of the Michigan Soccer Central. So lots to catch up on from coaches, players, fans, and media members. We're trying to get as many perspectives of the world's game here in Michigan. So many layers. That was that really is what my takeaway from the Craig Beebe interview, just how many organizations and layers of the amateur game there really are. But this week's feature interview, we're going to go to the middle of the state where a new era has begun. The Paul Doroh era begins for the Flint City Bucks as the longtime assistant takes over the top job for the Bucks, takes over from Andy Wagstaff. The reins have been passed to Coach Paul Doroh. We talked to him and we learned a little bit about how he learned he was going to get the job or going to be offered the job. The weight of taking over the 2022 national semifinalist and four-time national championship club, a weight of success now is transferred to his shoulders. And we learn a bit about his large family and kind of what the longtime assistant will bring to his new role as the number one head coach of the Flint City Bucks. So keep on tuned in for Paul Doroh, new coach of the Flint City Bucks, here on the Michigan Soccer Central podcast. Next up here on the Michigan Soccer Central podcast, we've got an exciting guest because there is some change in the wings of one of Michigan's, or probably Michigan's most successful team. News came out, I think it was last week, that coach of the Flint City Bucks, Andy Wagstaff, was stepping away, and there was a new era at the helm of the Flint City Bucks. And to learn a little bit about him, we've got him on the show today. He spent 4 years as a player at Oakland University. He's been an assistant on the Golden Grizzly staff, as well as coaching in the Liverpool Youth Academy. Thank you, Coach Paul Doroh, for joining the Michigan Soccer Central podcast today.
Well, great. What an intro. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's a pleasure. I really appreciate you spending some time. You said you were doing a little bit of local press coverage up in Flint today.
They did, yeah. So we met a few of the local TV stations up there at Atwood Arena, or Atwood Stadium, I should say. And they came out and did a little interview and had a little chat with those guys, and it was good. So it cost to set that all up, and it was pretty well received.
So with your history and the success of the team, there's no pressure in your first year or anything, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean that's always one of the questions that I get asked, and it's the question that makes me the most nervous, right? Because the Bucks are a winning organization, national championships and taking over from a long line of successful coaches. The organization has expectations to win, and I have my own personal desires and expectations to win. But yeah, it makes me a little bit nervous, but in your introduction, I think your statement is correct. The Bucks, if not the one of the most successful amateur programs in the nation. So, always a little bit humbled to be given the opportunity to be the coach of that, but excited at the same time.
So I guess I want to ask, like, how did you receive the news that you were going to become the new head coach of the Bucks?
Yeah, so it was a little bit of I don't want to say a strange transition, but Andy had decided that he was going to step away, and so I got a call from Gary and from Costa, and first from Andy Wagstaff, and said, "Hey, they're thinking about offering you the head coaching position. What would you think about that?" So thought about it, talked with my wife, what it would what the day to day would look like, and the amount of time commitment into it, and just kind of worked its way out. I mean, really flattered that they would even consider me and have the confidence to put me in that position. So, when an opportunity like that comes, I think you've got to jump at it, and at least take your chances and see how it goes.
You've been at Oakland University. You're an assistant, and then now you're the associate head coach there. And
Mhm.
that program has seen a considerable amount of success. And you were a player there, and then you've just obviously been named at Flint, and you were a player for the Bucks back in the '90s yourself. What does that say about you, and what does that mean to kind of like come full circle like that?
I don't know. I guess maybe it's yeah that I don't get out of the area very much. I don't know, but yeah, I mean my experience at Oakland was fantastic. Gary Parsons, who's now the GM up there with the Flint City Bucks, was the head coach at the time. Um, it really had a great experience at Oakland, and now coaching on that side, it's equally as challenging, just from a little bit different perspective, the other side of the fence, I guess, from the coaching perspective. Same thing with the Bucks. They gave me an opportunity to play and play at a very high level. Really valued the experience and the opportunity to play for them, and now get a chance to give that same opportunity to some of these young guys who are looking to make their splash on the soccer scene. So going pro and getting to the next level of their development. So and win some games and win some hardware this year. That's the idea.
For listeners unfamiliar, we're talking about such a successful club. For a little bit of context, the Bucks have won 4 national championships and have been to countless late stage playoff games. Like last year, for example, when you were an assistant to Andy Wagstaff, you guys went all the way to the national semifinal and essentially have like a generation's head start on all these, amateur, elite amateur sides that. We're seeing now. Up until recently, the Bucks were the sole or one of 2 teams in Michigan at this level, and I think there's 5 or 6 Michigan-based ones in on the Great Lakes Division. Um, so when I try to explain like what is the Bucks thing, it seems like the number one goal for the Bucks is turning players pro. Is that an accurate cliff notes of the Bucks?
Yeah, it is. It's one of the stated goals is to get the players to their next level. I mean, our front office does a fantastic job. You talked about having a bit of a head start. I think between Gary and Costa and Dan, they spend the entire year developing this team and contacting coaches and players and making sure that they're the right fit and our program's the right fit for them. So they've assembled a wonderful team of talented young guys who want to get to that next stage and go pro or but while they're playing for us, their goal is to win a national championship. So that's the direction, and that's kind of where our sights are set right now.
There's going to be. I'm really excited. If I didn't disclose this earlier, I'm a big Oakland County FC supporter, and
Oh
we'll be
no,
seeing you
sorry.
guys twice this year. And I'm just really looking forward to this summer. I wait all year for 3 months season, and then the division was already tough with 3 of the top 10 nationally ranked teams in the division with Flint, Kalamazoo, and Ann Arbor. And then this year we're throwing in South Bend, who
Hmm.
topped their division. So the division's seemingly only going to get tougher. Um, I wanna come back to like kind of previewing this year in a minute, but I kind of wanted to focus on you yourself. Like I said, back in the '90s, you were a player at Oakland, and player at the Bucks, and then from the resume in the press release, it stated that you jumped right into to coaching right there in 1998. So kind of tell us about those early years of coaching and kind of the lessons you learned, because it said eventually you went on to winning some youth national championships as a coach. So kind of tell us about that early coaching journey that may have been the blueprint to where you've gotten.
Yeah. Well, when I first got started, Andy Wagstaff, who I think I've coached in just about every step along the way throughout my coaching journey with him, uh, he gave me an opportunity to coach with what was at the time Bloomfield Force. Got started on the youth ranks with that, and he and I coached a team that went back-to-back national championships in on the women's side at the 18s and 19s level, and then he got me started in the college game as well. He became the head coach up at Saginaw Valley State, and he said, "Hey, I need an assistant. Do you have any interest?" And I told him I did, and so I came up and coached with him up there for a year, and then my alma mater, Oakland, called and said, "Hey, we'd like to bring you down here." Talked that through with Andy, and gave me his blessing. He said it just makes sense for you, and so been over at Oakland since was it 2016, 2017. So it's been a great fit, but I mean, I say it a lot, but I'll never stop saying it. Andy has given me a lot of opportunities in the game from the coaching side. He and I are good personal friends, and I just can't say enough nice things about him and what he's done for being a mentor in the game, giving me opportunities, and then you know um, kind of pushing me off the ledge and say it's time for you to fly on your own now. So it's been a great journey. It's not all been highs. There's been some lows too, and you learn from both of those. But um, looking forward to this next season with the Bucks and taking that next step. And as you alluded to, there's a lot of really good teams. This USL2 division. I mean, from Oakland County to Kalamazoo to Lansing, Ann Arbor, now South Bend. Um, it's just there there's just a lot of talented young players. So to say that we have our sights set on a national championship might be one thing, but you've got to get through your division as well. So we've got these games ahead of us that we've got to take care of, and it's by no means do we underestimate our opponents, because they are really talented teams, and formidable opponents for sure.
So what is it? Do you think that from your times as being a long-time assistant, what is it that you want to apply from that experience? And then, like, how, like, I guess, what has your experience of being an assistant so far? Like, how's that set you up for the top job?
Um, well, all the coaches that I've ever coached with me being an assistant or an associate head coach, um, and I'm the same way. I don't want, and they didn't ever have wanted, yes men that you just, oh yeah, coach, that sounds like a great idea. They want you to challenge their ideas, and they want you to, talk through things even if you disagree. At the end of the day, you have a united front with the players, and you come up with an idea, or a plan. But I think, kind of vetting some of those ideas and having candid soccer related tactical and player, conversations with the coaches that I've worked for, with Eric Pogue at Oakland. Even Gary Parsons as the GM has his opinion, and we talk through those things. And with Andy, that's always how it's been. He's always told me, if you see something, speak up about it. I don't want you just to parrot whatever I say. I want you to challenge these ideas, because we want to be the best staff for the players that we can be. And that's how I intend to work with the staff this year. Now the dynamic changes, because at the end of the day, you can absorb all the advice that you want, but I have to make the decision, right? And I have to live by that. And maybe as an assistant coach, that's a bit of a comfort, because I can give my advice, and the head coach has to make the decision. Well, I'm that guy now, so I've got to just ultimately make the decision on some sometimes very difficult player decisions or tactical adjustments or whatever it is. But um, I think that process of working through those details over the years has kind of set me up, and um, I think I'm ready. I guess the proof will be in the pudding, right? What the product looks like on the field, and what the record looks like at the end of the season. So
Who are some of the players that we should be looking out for? Some of the fans should keep an eye out for.
um, I don't know if they've announced all of the roster yet, so I don't want to just single any one person out, especially you being an Oakland County fan. I don't want to give you I don't want you, calling over there and giving them no. But I just don't know if I'm able to discuss the players on the roster yet until probably contracts are finalized, clearances are happening with the U.S. Soccer and all of that. So um, I don't want to mention someone and something happens and it falls through or something. But um, rest assured, it's one of the most talented rosters that I think I've worked with for sure. And that's saying a lot, because last year I think was one of the more talented Bucks teams that I've seen, and unfortunately we just fell a little bit short in that semifinal game. But it's a challenge to work with players of that caliber. So I'm excited about that. But they'll do a press release with the whole roster, and you get the inside scoop then.
You said something interesting there. Yeah, yeah. My downfall for being transparent. Transparency ruined me there. But understandably tight-lipped. But you said it can be a challenge working with extremely talented players. Like, what do you mean?
Well, because they know the game, sometimes as well as you do. They're really talented. They understand tactics. They've had high level training all the way along. They don't get to where they're at by just going through the motions. So continuing to find ways to challenge them and improve them on the field is a challenge. Now they can execute things better than some of the developmental teams, in the youth ranks and things like that. So if you give them ideas, you don't have to keep repeating and parroting those ideas. Um, they can execute on them better, but these players don't want to be stagnant. They have aspirations of being pro, and you have to find a way to challenge them. And sometimes player management with a talented roster is a little bit of a challenge as well, because there's only 11 guys that start on a soccer field. So if you're 12th, 13th, 14th, or somewhere lower down the road, managing personalities and keeping players bought in, especially some of these guys are coming. They're the top guys on their college teams, and you know have national eyes on them, and they want to be on the field. So keeping everybody on the same page and pulling in the same direction is going to be one of the things that we have to manage as well.
What are you looking forward to, like implementing that you weren't in the position to do so? Like whether it be stylistically, organizationally, or man management. Like what's something that you want to bring that's specifically your idea, or something that like it wasn't your place to implement until this time.
Well, my working relationship with Andy was being what it was. Is I mean, obviously he had his vision of the game, but our vision of the game is not that different. So the continuity of coaching, I think, will be. I think you'll see a very similar style. There may be some tweaks and things like that, but I don't think you're going to see dramatic differences between the Bucks team that was led by Andy Wagstaff, or for that matter anybody in the past. We're going to play an exciting brand of soccer, possession based, but with attacking goals in mind. Try to be stingy on the score sheet and defensively, and put a product on the field that the fans can enjoy, and produces wins. I mean, you can win, and that's great. But if your fan base doesn't enjoy the product, then they're not as willing to come and support. So we want to kind of balance both of those and have a really exciting brand of soccer that they can enjoy and win some games here.
Yeah, it should be an exciting season ahead. I'm curious to see what you guys do to other teams other than Oakland County FC. But kind of changing direction here a little bit, in the press release, it said you have a very large family.
I
You
do.
have 8 children. So are you trying to start your own soccer team in your family?
Yes, except they're too diverse in age, and I always, people are like, "Wow, you have 8 children." I said, "Yeah, but more impressively, my wife has 8 children." So, um, you know, we I don't know that we set out to have 8 children, but we've just been blessed in our marriage and with the children that we have, and not all of them are at home anymore. My oldest daughter is married and moved out, so um, it's it's a busy household, but you don't have 8 children all at once, so you kind of grow into it, and we just vibrate on a higher level than most homes. That's all.
I can only imagine. I have two, and it's wild enough. I did want to ask you though, being a man who spent his seems like a lot of time and a lot of his life in the game. Did your kids play soccer too?
They did, except for the littlest ones do kind of soccer camps in the summer and stuff like that. They're a bit young to really bite into the whole playing thing, but it was a big thing for me that my children find what they liked and not just follow and be involved in the game because dad likes it. So I told them that from the very beginning. If you fall in love with the game, we'll pursue and take it where it goes. Um, and most of them have been bitten by it right now. My oldest two played for a lot of years, and uh, we we played through the Carpathia Kickers Club, which is near and dear to our heart and our family. Um, Played there in my youth and adult career as well in the amateur divisions. And so my oldest two kind of played through that, and my others play it now. My boy plays at Liverpool with our program there, and my others play kind of recreationally, and they have some other interests that they like, but they still love the game, and so we just kind of give them the opportunity to enjoy it and learn the lessons that it teaches. So
That's kind of where I was going with that. Is like, how do you let them, how do you let those kids find it, like make the opportunity available without being too pushy? That's like quite the balance for parents.
uh, yeah, I mean, I don't want them to live my life. I mean, I've played the game, I've coached the game, like my playing time within the game, that's done. So I'm not living vicariously through my children's playing careers. I want them to enjoy it, fall in love with the game. That's what we talk about. And if you love it, then you'll spend the time out in the yard working on your working on your skills. You won't have to ask you to be ready to go to practice. You'll be sitting in the car waiting to go, that type of thing. So, and if you don't love it and you have other interests, then pursue those as well. But it's a fantastic game that's given me a lot of opportunities, developed and given me a lot of relationships within my life, lifelong friends, and colleagues. And um, if that's something that they want to be involved in, then I support it, but they don't have to. They have a diversity of other interests as well.
Yeah, the game sure does give back an awful lot, doesn't it?
It does, which is why I got into coaching. Um, when I was done playing, it was an opportunity to kind of give back to the next generation of players coming through, and whatever wisdom or knowledge or experience I have within the game to kind of help pass that along. Um, and I think we're seeing that now too with the level of player that's coming through. The more and more people who have played at a high level and get back into coaching, it's just doing astronomical things for the youth game. I mean, there's some very very talented players in this Southeast Michigan area that I see on a daily basis and compete against on a weekly basis, and I'm a it's it's a cool thing to see the overall development of soccer here in Michigan. So yeah, it's exciting time for sure.
Yeah, where would you say the level of player is now compared to in your playing days?
Well, at the risk of offending my prior teammates, no, I think the game has changed a little bit. I mean, we had really technical and really skilled individual ball skill type of players back in the day, right? But I think just about every player is highly skilled now. The technical abilities have been focused, and they've had people who can demonstrate that. So players who have played at a high level can now demonstrate what the technique looks like, and that's different than maybe when we grew up and we had a dad or a friend's dad who was coaching just so that we could play, and maybe didn't have the same background. So I think players are really technically gifted right now, and they spend a lot of time developing those skills. Um, I think we were probably more competitive, and uh, that's, I mean, maybe not a completely broad, fair statement to make, but um, it felt like a little bit of a mini war every time we stepped on the field. Um, so I mean, and everybody was kind of in it together. So a lot of really fond memories on the soccer field with my teammates. It was fantastic, and to see these young players going through that now too and developing some of those same relationships is a cool process to see.
Well, Coach Paul, your Flint City Bucks open the USL 2 season on the road against Kalamazoo May 19th, and then I believe your home opener is against Midwest United on the 27th. Um, how are you gonna? What's the schedule leading into then? And then what's your just general goal for the season?
I think we have a couple of, I don't know if they're public or non-public exhibitions that we're going to try and tune up the team and get ready for the season opener when it starts to count. But I mean, the goal is to win every game in the season. We'll see how that shakes out, but the idea is to have the players prepared, ready to play, best team on the field with the deepest bench that we possibly can have, and then give those boys the opportunity to play and express themselves on the field, play within our style and the direction of what we've given them tactically to execute. But I don't kick the ball on the field anymore. They've got to execute those things. So giving them the opportunities and the ideas and the understanding of what we're looking for, and then the opportunity to get it done on the field. So I'm excited. I mean, I said it before, but I think this is a really, really talented team, and I'm excited to work with them, and we'll be really excited when I see all the faces rolling in Atwood Stadium on that that first training week as guys kind of trickle in here as they get out of college and whatnot.
Well, Coach Paul Doroh, thank you so much for joining us here on the Michigan Soccer Central podcast, and all the best for the 2023 USL 2 season.
Thank you very much. It's been my pleasure, and I appreciate you reaching out and giving me the opportunity to talk to you a little bit and the broader soccer community. And I know you'll be cheering for the Flint City Bucks, all except for probably 2 games of the season, right?
We'll see.
That's been awesome. Thanks for your time.
Cheers. Thank you so much to my guest, Flint City Bucks new head coach Paul Doroh, here on the Michigan Soccer Central podcast. And thank you to all the guests that we've had on the program over the last 2 years. Without you guys, this show doesn't go, and that's what it's all about, is gaining as many perspectives from the world's game here in Michigan. And be sure to check out the Michigan Soccer Central YouTube. We got Open Cup reactions from head coach Trevor James over there. So big thanks, as always, to the show editor, Jenny Hajnaki, and big thanks to Dan Garnell, Brooks Lambier, Steve Corcoran, and Josh Hackler of the Michigan Soccer Central Core team. Without all you guys, this show does not go. So spring is in full action. Youth soccer, girls high school soccer, and much, much more, and more professional games at the weekend. So until next week and until our next episode, everybody, please enjoy your soccer.
Michigan Soccer Central.